Hey gang, hope everybody's doing well out there. I feel kind of bad because I haven't really posted anything that's useful for guitar players recently. So I thought I'd hop on real quick and show you a lick that you can use to simulate having a delay pedal, even if you don't have a delay pedal. What we'll do is create the illusion of having like a dotted eighth note delay happening. That's the sound that Thedge from U2 made so famous, and a million other people have used it. So we're going to try to imitate that delay pedal sound without using a delay pedal. To do that, we're going to use two positions of the pentatonic scale, and we're going to combine them together to get like a big 3-note per string fingering. So first, let's look at the fingering. I'm going to do it in the key of D minor. So the two patterns that we're going to combine are things you guys already know. Everybody knows these, right? Pattern number one is going to be the pentatonic scale that everybody's learned forever, this thing. And then we're also going to play the next position above, same key. Okay, there's your two positions. And most people kind of play those separately. I'm going to combine them together now, and we'll get this 3-note per string fingering. Now the fingering is going to have some wide stretches in it because I'm combining two positions of the guitar, right? If you're not used to playing wide stretch stuff, I would recommend two things. Number one, play in a key that's higher up on the guitar, right? Especially if you have like a double cutaway or whatever. So play higher up on the guitar so that the frets aren't as far apart. Or if you're working on this, if your hand starts to fatigue or you're starting to get pain, for God's sake, stop playing. Like, come back to it later. This is not supposed to hurt. Yeah, of course there's discomfort when you're learning stuff on the guitar. We all know that you have to go through certain things just to get the tendons and muscles and calluses to where you want them to be. But if you ever feel like an actual pain, stop what you're doing, okay? And come back to it later, all right? So that's just a little disclaimer because of the stretch thing that's happening. Okay, so here's what happens when you combine those two patterns. I'll play it kind of slow, and hopefully you can see the fingerings, and also you can hear how the notes overlap when we combine these two fingerings. So you would get this as just the scale going straight up. And descending. Okay, nothing too special there. Sounds pretty stock, right? Well, that's probably because I'm just playing a scale straight up and down, right? And as we all know, that's not really music. So what we're going to do is take a sequence of notes, pretty common one. It's actually going to be like the first 4 notes of Farajaka. It's a 4-note sequence, okay? Here's what it would sound like in the major scale. I'll play D major. First 4 notes would be... That's our sequence of notes. Root, second, third, back to the root. If I play that diatonically in 1 octave of D major, it would sound like this. Okay, pretty common sequence. We're going to apply that exact sequence to this stretched out version of the pentatonic scale. Now, the reason that this is going to sound somewhat like a delay, or at least interesting, is because now that we have these two patterns locked together, you get this really interesting phenomena where the last note on whatever string you're playing is the same or unison with the first note of the next adjacent string. For example, here's D, F, G on the low E. The first note on the A string is also G. Same note. That happens on every set of adjacent strings when we use this fingering. So it's sort of like the false fingering thing on saxophone or whatever. So you end up with... Don't forget when you're playing these fingerings on the G string, you have to move your pinky back a half step because of the tuning of the guitar, right? There's a major third between the G and the B strings. And then we're back to our big stretch here because perfect fourth between the B and the high E. Okay, so there's all your unison notes, right? You can see that, oh, the last note on whatever string I'm on is the same as the first note of the next adjacent string. If we take our sequence, this guy, and we apply it to this minor pentatonic thing, the way that the unisons fall creates this sort of delay sounding effect. So here's what it would sound like ascending. You can kind of hear there's this repeated note effect happening because we have these unisons, right? Or if I descend with it, you get this cool staggered effect happening that sort of sounds like you're playing with a delay pedal. All right, so there you go. Hopefully you can use something like that. Maybe you'll come up with your own version of it. Or if nothing else, just take that stretched out pentatonic thing and apply sequences that you already know or play to it, and you'll get some cool new ideas. I mean, you could take something as simple as playing thirds. Here's thirds in D major, by the way, like this sort of sound. And if you do that with this, it's pretty hip sounding, right? So hopefully you can use some of that. If not, that's fine too. It's just an idea. All right. Take care, everybody. Enjoy the NBA playoffs.